faithfully delivering value and breaking down great books worldwide. Hi, I'm Sally from Sally's Book Talk. Today we're diving into the book Authentic Happiness. Happiness means something different to everyone. For some, happiness is not having to work and sleeping in every day. For others, it's having endless money to buy anything they want. And for some, happiness is just indulging in a big feast. On this topic, Martin Seligman, the author, is likely the go-to expert. He's dubbed the father of positive psychology and has researched happiness for decades. In 1998, after Seligman was elected president of the American Psychological Association, with a record high vote, he focused on advancing positive psychology. In 2000, he and Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, known for flow theory, published Introduction to Positive Psychology, officially launching the field. Fun fact, Seligman, the positive psychology pioneer, first made a name for himself studying depression and negative emotions. But digging deeper, Seligman shifted gears. He saw that psychology had mainly tackled curing diseases, making big strides with treatments for mental disorders. But is just avoiding illness really our goal? No way! What we really crave is happiness. Yet for ages, psychology ignored happiness, thinking all actions stemmed from negative emotions. For example, psychoanalysis might say Bill Gates works tirelessly to outdo his dad subconsciously, or that Princess Diana joined anti-landline efforts out of hatred for Prince Charles. Seligman hated this perspective. He championed optimism, hope, courage, and honesty. These positive feelings and virtues drive us to tackle challenges and build a better world. Thus, he argued psychology shouldn't just fix problems, but prevent them, helping folks dodge mental health issues. And then the top way to prevent issues? Make sure everyone finds happiness. So what is real happiness anyway? For Seligman, while partying and indulging feel great, they're not true happiness. They're fleeting and don't last. And it lacks meaning. After the thrill, you might feel even emptier. Plus, relentlessly chasing these pleasures can also lead to all sorts of negative consequences. For example, someone addicted to drinking, downing several bottles daily, could easily develop diseases like cirrhosis. Others, seeking the thrill of street racing, might end up in tragic accidents where cars are wrecked and lives lost. But authentic happiness is different. It has two key traits. First, it lasts longer. So even after the activity ends, you still feel satisfied and joyful. Second, it fosters growth, enhancing our abilities across the board while also giving us a sense of meaning in life. So, what factors are linked to authentic happiness? Positive psychology answers this with the happiness formula. Lasting happiness equals your happiness set point plus life circumstances plus controllable factors. The happiness set point is our innate level of happiness. This factor accounts for 50% of our well-being, but it's genetically determined and can't be changed. Seligman compares the happiness set point to a thermostat. Some people are born with a higher happiness index while others have a naturally lower one. Even if external events temporarily boost or lower their happiness, after a while it returns to its original level. A study looked at 22 lottery winners and found that while winning made them happy for a while, soon enough, their happiness dropped back to pre-win levels. Sounds like not great news, since good things don't affect our happiness much. But it also means bad things don't hit us as hard either. In another study, psychologists surveyed people who became paraplegic after car accidents and could never walk again. Though they initially felt their lives were over and happiness plummeted, after 8 weeks, their happiness began to recover. Years later, their happiness was just a tad lower than average, returning to normal levels. That's the role of the happiness set point. It keeps our happiness stable within a certain range, no matter the ups and downs, preventing big swings. As for life circumstances, while they can indeed boost our happiness, changing them often comes with high costs and isn't very practical. Mhm. For example, research data shows that in countries with higher per capita income, people's life satisfaction is also higher. But once per capita income exceeds $8,000, there's almost no difference. So if you live in high income countries like the US or Sweden, no matter where you move, your happiness won't change significantly. Additionally, research also tells us that good marriages and relationships are strongly linked to happiness. But psychologists haven't figured out which is the cause and which is the effect. It might be that happy people themselves are more likely to have high quality relationships. Even if good marriages and relationships really can make people happy, it's not easy to have them. And more importantly, the impact of these factors on happiness isn't that big. Altogether, they only account for 8 to 15%. So, trying to improve happiness by changing your environment can be said to be a waste of effort with little reward. The cost benefit ratio is very low. The happiness set point can't be changed, and the influence of life circumstances is too small. Therefore, the most effective way to increase happiness is to change the controllable factors. In this book, Seligman focuses on two controllable factors. One is cultivating positive emotions, and the other is leveraging virtues and strengths. Next, I'll talk about why they bring happiness and how to achieve them. First, let's talk about positive emotions. Here we're referring to emotions like optimism, hope, gratitude, and joy. Positive emotions are significant for us. They broaden our thinking, make us more creative, and thus help us solve problems better. Psychologists conducted experiments where they had a group solve brain teasers. They found that if positive emotions were first stimulated, like by showing them funny cartoons or having them loudly recite words associated with positive emotions, they could solve the problems more smoothly later. Positive emotions also help us make better decisions. Psychologists once showed volunteers health materials, like articles about coffee causing cancer, to coffee lovers. The results showed that those who had positive emotions stimulated beforehand could recall the negative information in the article more accurately a week later. When drinking coffee later, they would also consider this factor, thus making more comprehensive judgments. Psychologists believe that negative emotions like fear and apathy trigger a fault finding mindset, making our minds narrower. But positive emotions are the opposite. They allow us to see problems from a more inclusive and broader perspective, naturally leading to finding more solutions and making more appropriate judgments. Plus, positive emotions make us healthier too. A U.S. study tracked over 2,000 seniors aged 65 and older for 2 years, finding those with more positive emotions had significantly lower mortality and disability rates. They had better lifestyle habits, lower blood pressure, and healthier immune systems. Another study showed that in convents with similar living conditions, diets, and medical care, 90% of nuns with more positive emotions lived past 85 versus only 34% of those with fewer positive emotions. These examples show positive emotions enhance problem solving, fuel growth, and create lasting, even lifelong impacts, bringing sustained development and authentic happiness. So, Seligman values positive emotions highly, though not all bring happiness, like the pleasure from music, which is positive but doesn't last and fades quickly. Thus, while positive emotions are crucial for authentic happiness, they don't guarantee it. So, how do we cultivate positive emotions? Seligman categorizes them into past, future, and present. Here's how to develop each type. First, for the past, key positive emotions are gratitude and forgiveness, while negative ones include resentment and anger. Whether someone feels positive or negative about the past depends on their perspective. Here, Freud arguably caused significant negative influence. Freud believed everything in life, from relationships to dreams, is determined by the past. All our problems can be traced back to childhood shadows and traumas. Childhood experiences determine adult personality and life, an idea with deep impact. Even today, many blame everything from career setbacks to marital conflicts on past experiences. But modern psychology has long debunked Freud's view. Childhood experiences do affect personality, but the impact is minor and limited. In fact, studies on identical twins prove that genetics has a much bigger impact on personality than Freud claimed, far more than childhood experiences. So we've got no reason to blame current depression, unemployment, or unhappy marriages on childhood. These negative feelings about the past only make us unhappier. Seligman suggests we use gratitude and forgiveness to let go of past fixations. How exactly? For gratitude, set aside time daily to write down things we're thankful for, like good health, parents' love, or others' help. We can also find people to thank directly. The research shows people doing this experience huge boosts in life satisfaction. Forgiving those who hurt us is much tougher, though. Seligman notes willingness to forgive depends on values, but objectively, those who choose forgiveness have higher happiness. If you choose forgiveness, first recall the hurt objectively. Don't demonize the person. Then consider their perspective, why they hurt you. Find possible reasons. Next, recall times you were forgiven to build empathy. Then publicly forgive them, like writing a forgiveness pledge. Finally, maintain forgiveness. Remind yourself you've chosen to move on and live better. Studies show better execution of these steps leads to stronger forgiveness benefits and more positive emotions. Now let's discuss positive emotions about the future. This mainly means optimism. Seligman defines it as having more hope for the future, performing better in, challenging work, bouncing back quickly after setbacks. What makes some optimistic, others pessimistic? Seligman says the difference lies in how they explain events. Optimists credit permanent factors like ability for good things and temporary ones like bad luck for bad things. Pessimists do the opposite, blaming permanent factors for failures. Optimistic folks might think, oh, this was just me being off my game and missing something. I'll be more careful next time. Pessimists, on the other hand, might feel this shows I'm incompetent and totally unfit for this job. So, how can we ditch the pessimism and grab hold of optimism? Seligman advises us to spot the flaws in our thinking to prove pessimism wrong. For example, we can hunt for evidence. Take that PPT case. If you think you're not good enough, recall times you excelled at work and got boss praise. If that's true, it means this idea is flat out wrong. We can also brainstorm other options, like the PPT mess up might not be about skill. Maybe the boss rushed you, or you had home stuff distracting you. These are temporary glitches, not proof you're no good. Lastly, ask yourself, even if it's really incompetence, what's the worst that could happen? That doesn't mean I can't keep working. Skills can be learned, can't they? Worst case, if this job's not my fit, I can figure out my strengths and move to something better. No biggie. The world won't end. Life rolls on. By countering like this, we ditch pessimism and grab onto optimistic vibes. Now, let's wrap up with positive emotions for the present. Seligman mainly introduces pleasure, good feelings we get from our senses, like having ice cream on a hot day, cozying by the fire in winter, or a steamy shower post-workout, all give that happy buzz. Sure, these good times are fleeting, but they're worth it. They help us bounce back. Seligman's all for chasing pleasure in moderation, and he's got tips to make it stick and hit harder. Um, First off, we got to beat the habit trap. Pleasure can get old fast. Ice cream's awesome in summer, but chow down daily for a week and you'll just feel gross. That's habituation for you. So to amp up life's joys, practice restraint, space them out, and spread the fun. Take ice cream, set a rule, finish a tub, then wait 3 days minimum for the next. That way you dodge the burnout. Secondly, we need to learn to savor pleasure mindfully. Moreover, The more fully you immerse yourself, the more pleasure you'll experience. So if you enjoy music, don't listen while browsing online. Instead, sit back comfortably, close your eyes, and listen attentively. If you like watching movies and seek an immersive experience, buy tickets for early shows with fewer people to avoid disturbances from chatting couples or mischievous kids. Avoiding disturbances from kids maximizes the movie enjoyment. All right, that wraps up the section on positive emotions. Next, I'll discuss what virtues and strengths are and how to find happiness through them. Seligman believes virtues and strengths have a greater, more fundamental impact on happiness than positive emotions. And many, like optimism and gratitude, are part of virtues themselves. So, what exactly are virtues and strengths? Here, virtues refer to six universally admired qualities identified by positive psychologists after studying various cultures. These are wisdom and knowledge, courage, humanity, justice, temperance, and transcendence. Each virtue corresponds to several strengths, totaling 24, like courage, linking to perseverance, and honesty, while justice includes fairness and teamwork. What's the relationship between virtues and strengths? If virtues are the goals we pursue, strengths are the means to achieve them. For example, applying strengths like leadership and teamwork at work embodies the virtue of justice. Due to time, I won't cover each strength individually. If interested, check the 24 strengths in the book notes below the audio. Happiness from exercising strengths lasts much longer than sensory pleasures. Seligman had students do something enjoyable, like watching a movie or eating ice cream, and a good deed, like showing generosity to help others. Many students said this assignment changed their outlook, surprised that happiness from good deeds could last so long. One student even said he'd rather spend time helping others than shopping, as it brings far more happiness, because leveraging our strengths can bring us into a flow state. Flow is a concept proposed by psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. For many years, Mihaly has been researching what factors make people happy. He interviewed many scientists, artists, and ordinary people, surveying over 100,000 individuals. As a result, Mihaly found that regardless of profession or status, all respondents stated that when they immerse themselves fully in challenging activities, they experience the greatest happiness. Mihaly named this state flow. Seligman believes that flow is the process of leveraging strengths to grow from challenges. For example, we can use our strength of insight to analyze market trends, or our strength of care to look after others. When we focus on our strengths, we reach a state of complete absorption and gain intense satisfaction. The flow experience contains novelty and a sense of accomplishment, driving us forward to find meaning in life. The happiness generated this way is incomparable to those activities just seeking pleasure. At the same time, virtues and strengths are part of our personality. They can manifest at any time and in any situation. Therefore, whether in life or work, you can continuously leverage your strengths to enter a flow state and experience happiness. In Seligman's view, virtues and strengths are the most solid foundation for happiness. However, this doesn't mean you have to master all 24 strengths. We should discover our own strengths and maximize them to enter flow and gain authentic happiness. As for those strengths we're not good at, just ignore them. Take work, for example. It's where many people spend most of their time and energy. If we can turn work into a source of happiness, it can significantly improve quality of life. But for many, work is a source of frustration and pain. Endless tasks, unreasonable clients, demanding bosses, all making it feel like going to the gallows. Seligman believes this is because you haven't leveraged your strengths at work. If you see work merely as a job to make ends meet, and all problems and challenges at work seem like obstacles, naturally leading to various frustrations. But if you can apply your strengths at work, you'll become passionate about it and even see work as a career that fulfills your life's purpose. At this point, you'll happily face challenges and let them help you grow. This experience isn't limited to high status jobs like doctors, judges, or scientists. Even if you're a janitor, you can do this. Psychologists once studied 28 hospital janitors. Their job duties were exactly the same. The results showed that janitors who believed cleaning helped patient recovery, had higher work efficiency, cooperated better with doctors and nurses, and experienced more sense of accomplishment. They were leveraging their strength of caring for others. So, when choosing a job, we should focus on whether it allows us to use our strengths. People with the strength of curiosity can go into scientific research. They're curious about everything and want to uncover the reasons, making them ideal for exploring nature. Those with the strength of creativity might consider becoming chefs, as menu planning, cooking, and plating are all areas where they can express creativity. And bosses and companies should observe each employee's strengths and assign tasks that best utilize them. This greatly boosts enthusiasm, even more than raising salaries. If you're the boss of a law firm, you could assign Xiao Zhang, who has creative strengths and an active mind, to research if a new law applies to a case, or assign someone with social intelligence strengths. Xiao Wang, who excels at dealing with people, to handle those difficult clients. Before long, in handling external PR work, you'll find the whole firm is full of energy and everyone's work efficiency greatly improves. Um, Having talked about work, now let's discuss marriage. Surveys show that 40% of married people consider themselves very happy, while only 23% of single people do. Among environmental factors affecting happiness, marriage has a greater impact than money or work. So, how can we keep a marriage happy? A crucial method is for couples to consistently see each other's virtues and strengths. A couple may come together because they're attracted to each other's strengths, but over time, these can be overlooked or even become perceived as flaws. For example, past integrity becomes current stubbornness, past humor becomes current nagging, and the relationship naturally grows colder. So, what should be done? Seligman provides this method. First, think of 3 strengths in your partner. Then, write down what actions demonstrate these strengths. Then, read your praise to them. And finally, invite them to do the same exercise. Oh, this exercise allows couples to see each other's strengths, strengthening their bond. At the same time, it makes couples feel valued and more willing to apply these strengths in daily life, creating a positive cycle. However, even the best couples inevitably disagree. At such times, they need to leverage strengths like self control, love, and being loved to resolve issues through communication. Seligman offers a method called the speaker listener ritual. When couples discuss sensitive topics like the wife's relationship with in laws or family finances, they can use this method to communicate calmly and avoid conflicts. The ritual is like this. When communication starts, first take out a small blanket or any object easy to hold. The couple must agree that only the person holding the blanket can speak, while the other can only listen. When one finishes speaking, pass the blanket to the other to speak. When it's your turn, focus on expressing your thoughts and feelings. Also, don't speak too fast. Pause frequently to let the listener better understand your ideas, ensuring you both have a shared understanding. Discuss issues on a common ground. And when you're the listener, your task is to listen attentively and let the other know. You understand what they're saying, you can repeat their ideas in your own words during pauses to confirm mutual understanding. For example, when the wife says, "Our son is so young, I'm not sure if he should go to kindergarten." As the listening husband, he could say, "You're worried that our son is too young and might be bullied by other kids in kindergarten, right?" If you have different thoughts, don't mention them now. Wait until the next round when you have the blanket. Um, this method, it avoids common criticisms, contempt, and sarcasm in couple communication. It also lets us feel the other's attention and understanding towards us. On this basis, couples can easily reach compromises on conflicts instead of arguing more intensely, escalating conflicts, or even causing emotional breakdown. With that, we've nearly covered all of authentic happiness. Let's revisit the book's core ideas. Seligman argues authentic happiness features durability and growth. Our happiness relates to set point, circumstances, and controllables. Set point is fixed, circumstances matter little. Thus, the key lies in controllable factors. The book highlights two controllables: positive emotions and virtues with strengths. They're vital happiness components. Positive focus, positive tone, boost problem solving, and promote health and longevity. We cultivate them across past, future, and present dimensions. For the past, nurture gratitude and forgiveness. For the future, cultivate optimism. For the present, cultivate pleasure. Virtues and strengths impact happiness more profoundly than positive emotions. Leveraging virtues and strengths unlocks flow states, fueling growth, meaning, deep satisfaction, and accomplishment. We apply strengths across life domains for happiness. At work, seek roles using your strengths meaningfully. DOSes, observe employees' strengths for optimal assignments. In marriage, continuously recognize each other's virtues and strengths to maintain freshness. For conflicts, leverage strengths like self-control, using speaker-listener rituals to compromise and prevent escalation. All right, authentic happiness. That's the end of our interpretation. Find book notes below the audio. Until tomorrow,